What's up guys, this is Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll talk about the update into different parts. First, we'll be discussing the new banners, because I know that's the first thing you guys want to know, and Summon, because we have ScherBR, the new protagonist, and he is probably a given. If you play during this anniversary and you like what ScherBR brings to you, you can get him. Why? You should not be using pay gens here, because this is a 10% drop rate banner, and ScherBR has 2% to drop. Off banners will appear with 8% chances. And let me tell you something new. All the off banners up to Dream Eater and Muse. That's right, we have lots of good things here. Muse is still a very good character. We have School Socho. Well, I believe Valdor is better now. And we have ScherBR, that's already another BP battery. But just so that you know that you can get a lot of recent styles. Halloween ScherBR, it's an amazing character. She is made to buff break bosses and debuff them. She will stay relevant. She has a chains attack to heal as well sometimes. Halloween creator, if you have the newest creator, he can give you a 2-turn Sundered or 2-turn Intimidated. This creator is better, but inheritance fits. And there is Bune's banner, that's not really that great. And a lot of other characters here, but those are kind of the ones that you may want. Now, there's a lot of other banners as well, like the old ones, but those are highlights that you can find here. Now, talking about ScherBR himself, he is a character that has something new. When he uses this skill called Flowering Strings, it will increase the BP capacity of your character by 10 points. So instead of reaching 20, they will reach 30. This lasts for 5 turns, and if you actually have a surplus, it will be lost. You only have a max of 20 in turn 6. And this skill is actually pretty pricey. It has a 14 BP cost, but he does start with 14, so he can use this on turn 1 if he wants. He's also a character that gives you a defense boost passively, decreasing damage taken by 15%, also increasing your damage output by 15%. And his gameplay is actually very interesting. He opens by increasing BP cost and giving 10 BP points to everyone so that they can already use their best skills and their rotations will be totally different. It's like School Socho, but in the way that ScherBR, it's even better because he gives a BP increase. After he uses this, he can do plenty of different stuff. Like, for example, he can use this skill that buffs STR Dexterity and Intelligence by 25%. He also recovers BP by 1, so that you can still reach out to 14 BP later, because he already gets another 2 BP by the end of turn. Now, this character can also inherit other skills, or use a nuke attack that has a 15 BP cost. This is a 7-hit attack, and he even has a triple S bow to use. So you can use him to decrease damage taken, make the BP rotation of your characters much better, and he does make some very good styles, like Christmas and Press. The new list even better because they can use skills that decrease damage taken for 4 turns, stacked multiple times. ScherBR also has an S style where he can inherit Song of Peace. That's a 1 BP skill that removes debuffs applied to the party and recover very small HP. He also has a 1 BP skill that buffs status resistance to ailments and also buffs will by 25% on max level. So he does have other stuff to do when he is not increasing RBP, and he can even be used to remove debuffs and use guard up, but this inheritance doesn't make much sense. But you know what's better about ScherBR banner? Well, you have a free first pull with free gens, and I did. Many people got ScherBR for free, because one after 5 pulls, you usually get the character on average. So many people got with the free pull, and you can get it later as well. It's okay to pull here because you can PT other styles, and like I said, there are plenty of good ones that you can choose from. So even if you don't want to get ScherBR right now, it will be good to summon here till you get him, and even if you do not get him, and if you need to pity, you have a lot of good styles to choose from, and a very big list of styles. By having 10% chances and having access to a very good character that changes how we play, ScherBR is an OP grade character in a Silver Plus banner. Moving for the next one, we have Liz banner, and this one is actually pretty good. If you are a protagonist fan, I must say that Liz is the best character here because she has 5 EP per turn. She has this Azure Mage passive where she gives 3 damage decrease by 30% every 3 turns. She can also recover all surviving allies HP every 3 turns by 1,500. She nullifies cold. She also has a 50% chance to chase with her triple S attack that increases cold attack, and also has damage reduction. But her selling point is that she has Dragon's Blessing. This skill is 7 VP cost, and if you have VP generations from Shirei or from Valdor, you can actually use this every single turn. This skill reduces damage taken by 25% for 4 turns and stacks. That's right, that means that on your 4th cast, you had 4 defense boosts that decrease damage by 25%. This is multiplicative, not additive, but Liz can do the job of 2 different characters, for example. And she also heals everyone and also gives 1 BP. She is a BP battery herself. If you are bringing her with Noel's daughter as well, she has a perfect cycle since she has 5 BP per turn. She actually uses 7 and get 1 BP back. She can also be used for damage with her skill number 3 and a 50% chance to chase, but it's not really required. She is an OP grade tier character as well that competes with the likes of Death and Final Impress. Very similar results, sometimes better, and even easier to use most of the time. Then we have Polka, actually. He's the next best one here. And Polka is a character that is an upgrade over his chef style. He has a lot of damage increases, and he can also chase via this Scatter Explosion attack that in global is 3 to 5 hits. Very same 50% chance, and he also revives once. Has a skill that gets him into 1% HP but blocks damage for 3 turns and increases damage even further. But he by himself is not that great. I would say he only deserves an SS Plus or Triple S grade. But if you have Steelblade Phoenix from the Rag Robin style, Polka is still one of the best healers in the game. Competes with Mirza, has an okay damage output, but having access to Steelblade Phoenix every 2 turns is a guarantee, and if you are using some BP batteries, he can even use it better. Well, that's still a very good strategy to have. But if you're okay with Chef Polka, he will still work. But if you stop it with Rag Robin, now is the time to upgrade the character. Then we have Brownie, that's not really a much useful character, that's here just for damage, and she does have good ones if she hits RNG. She has a 37% chance to fuse all of her OG Gouge and get BP, and restores her skill 3. That is a triple S power attack that gives her a morale up increase and Pierce attack boost. And when she attacks on overdrive, she always chases with triple Pierce. That's a 3-hit attack with 8 power that equals like high-end 4S power attacks. So she has a good kit, but it's reliable in RNG and it's only used in Remembrance, sadly. This banner will receive a Silver Plus award if you don't have Polka, if you are just going for Liz. But if you do have Rag Robin, I believe it's a Gold Minus award, because 2 protagonists, they have futures, not right now, but they will probably have future styles, and they are on the top of their game for either healing or defense boost. And now the other banner, I can say, Joe is the best one. Joe is just very good, and it's easy to understand because Joe has this passive called Rosing Bound, where when someone else is attacked, she gets an attack boost, increasing damage potential by 5%, not much, it stacks and lasts for 2 turns, and then also a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 20%, only lasts for that turn. So if someone else is hit, she gets this and only affects the next hit. It only lasts for that turn, so every turn you have to start from 0. But she can also apply the same thing to the party via her skill number 2, that also gives her a heat up, increasing damage potential for the whole fight by 20%. So she opens the fight, applying this effect to everyone, so in bosses that attacks multiple times, everyone gets stronger and gets better defensive to reduce incoming damage with every new hit. She is also a character that has 50% chance to chase with 2 different attacks, one being Spectacle Portal, that is a 3-hit C power attack that feels like a high-end 4S power attack, or Checkmate that has a triple S power attack, or both or none, 50% chance for each. When we have chains with triple S power, we usually have only 1 chance, and characters with a power guarantee, so it's counterbalance. This character has 2, so it's much better. She also has at least 4 EP per turn and starts the fight with 11 if you want to use some of her inheritances. In boss fights, she's either inheriting from her last style skill number 2 that applies morale down, or using Odd Circle after you use it Flame Force, because this one gives attack and defense boost to increase damage potential and reduce damage taken by 25%. And it's also a double element skill, meaning that she can cover for both heat and cold all the time. And when she doesn't have EP, she is just self-buffing intelligence for even better damage. Jo is a character that works very similarly to revenge type of characters, where the more they get hit, the better they get. And she's also a meta character from JP, another OP tier character that becomes useful now and for the foreseeable future, similar to how Juden is, but Jo is easier to use because she works for all types of content when Juden is related to physical types. The next one is Eagle Maw, and she's a character that can use it for farming and boss fights, but depends if you have inheritance. As her gameplay, she can open with a double S power AoE attack that can only be used once. It's for farming with just one wave. But every time she attacks, she has a 50% chance to chase with Wicked Rapture. That is an 8-power AoE attack that can regen between 1 to 10 BP. And you can inherit this skill from her past premium style and use it as your first skill and then as your chase. You will recover a lot of BP that you can keep using this to play around. But I don't know how many instances you want to use this for real gameplay. She always debuffs STR and intelligence from enemies by 5%. And if she chases, it will become 10% debuff. Starts the fight with 14 to always use illusion dice if she wants. And she reduces damage taken by 30%, but has very low endurance. In some fights she can easily die, but if she dies, she gets revived by the end of a turn with 1.5k HP, but she does not negate LP damage if she's dead. She can also debuff intelligence with a free skill, so that you can actually debuff up to 25% in one turn. And she also has this skill, Darkness Bubble, that is a substitute for Aspergal and Rock Bouquet. Rock Bouquet and Aspergal are meta units because they can apply 2 very good debuffs. Aspergal debuffs all status, and she removes buffs applied by the enemy. It's super useful in recent challenges, and she's a meta character because of that. Rock Bouquet decreases damage taken by 15%, and he buffs all status. Eagle Maw applies defense down. It's the last terracing of those 3, but it still at least removes buffs from the enemies with just 6 BP. It's cheaper than the competition, but it does have lower value. Eagle Maw is okay. She receives a triple S grade, but it's not as good as the other ones. If you have them, you can easily skip Eagle Maw. Barthélemy is a type of damage dealer and overdrive support character. He applies this over an enhanced passive that increases overdrive damage by 50% for the whole fight, and he also applies Crescendo. That is a passive that when you are attacking on overdrive, you'll be buffing your STR dexterity and intelligence by 15%. This is also applied to everyone, including himself. But he himself likes to get lots of overdrive gauge, 50 points. So he gets into overdrive every 2 turns easily. When he has overdrive, he also gets a morale up very large, increasing damage by 40%. But if he's not on overdrive, he reduces damage taken by 35%. On overdrive, he takes more damage. He also has 5 EP per turn and has at least 1 damage reduction passive. So he's also fully charging overdrive gauge of everyone on start of the fight. So he's used for those moments where you want to do explosive damage on turn 1. And he's also a competitor to Labelle. If you have Labelle, you don't want to use her together with Barthélemy. But Barthélemy also has a skill where he gives 25 points of overdrive gauge to his allies. And, well, your allies will do more damage and buff on overdrive. So maybe if you have someone else that also gives OD gauge, or if you are using him with people that attack multiple times and can still get into overdrive every 2 turns, works just similarly. And he can also just use Abyssal Hands. That's a triple S attack that applies Guard Down, large, that decreases the defense of the enemy by 35%. Guard Down does not stack with Defense Down though. So you open with Abyssal Hands and hope that you are fast enough to be first, and then all of your allies will try to do more damage. But Labelle offers more utility for long fights because she reduces the chance of being inflicted with ailments. She increases damage as well, but it's for all attacks, and she even heals a little. I don't think you need both. You have one, okay. But if you get him, you will still find utility to try to nuke stuff on turn 1, while Labelle will only help you on turn 2. So this banner is good because of Joe being a meta unit that is overpowered, and Barthélemy is better than Eagle Maul in my opinion for the long run. The units are still somewhat useful anyway. This banner receives also a Silver Plus award, but, well, if I were to say something about this, due to the amount of free gens we are getting during this off anniversary, I would say you should choose one banner now, be either Liz or Joe. Most people will want Joe because in fights where the enemies attack multiple times, she's better. In fights where the enemy attacks less times, Liz is better. But Joe increases also your damage output, and in fights like Spiral 180, where you need to do more damage in a certain number of turns, she helps more. So decide upon the one you want. I cannot say which one is better. They are used in different situations. If you have enough gems, you could still pull for both if you want. And then still pull for Shirei. Shirei is a very good style. And you can get him during the anniversary because his banner is going away in 29 days. But the other banners is going away in 13 days. So you have to decide upon them now. And I can say that it's safe to pull if you want, but it's also safe to wait 1 week to see what's coming next. We don't know what to expect for now. But that's my opinion. What is yours? Please see here on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this. The next video will talk about the overall update and everything that has changed. See you later on the next one. Bye. And before I go, I'll still make the full reviews for all these banners, but it may take 1 or 2 days to do so.